In this section, I'll give tips as to how to insert audio seamlessly. Let's assume that your recording job has been accepted. The client loves the recording of your corporate video, training module, tourist information, narration, or escape room, or whatever it is you've been given. Wonderful. But they've changed a portion of the script. Well, you may or may not wish to charge them extra for this re-record. It's not your fault the script has changed. It can be a delicate situation. I'm usually pretty easy about it, not wanting to look greedy. I always ask the production company if they're charging the end client extra, that person being the person whose product or service is being promoted, and they're prepared to pay extra for the re-record. If you get the feeling from the reply that you won't speak to the end client, of course, you'll speak to the production company in between. If you get the feeling that the production company don't want to ask the end client for more money, then don't push it. You don't want to lose a client over just a €50 re-recording fee or whatever. But whether you're getting paid extra or not for the adapted script, you certainly don't want to record the whole flipping script again. But reading just the different words or parts of sentences that have changed doesn't often work either. It's very hard to make it sound as if it was all recorded at the same time. You don't want the final recording to sound like this, do you?
Last year, our company had more of everything. More for our clients and users. More marketing campaigns.
More sales.
More phone calls, emails, and client orders.
To ensure that the new audio from your updated script blends in well with the original, you need to record in the same studio with the same microphone at the same distance from the microphone. You need to listen to the original recording and speak along with the playback so you get into the state of mind and mood of the original. Let's hope that your voice hasn't changed since the original. If you're now suffering a bit of a cold, bunged up, it's a real problem, and you may need to experiment with the equalization settings to add a bit of treble or frequencies boosting it a bit at 5 to 8 kilohertz. Let's assume your voice sounds the same. Now, here's where your professional file system comes into play. Even though you may have sent the client a compressed file, you need to work with the edited but uncompressed raw file, right? So you've got rid of the mistakes, but yes, you have kept a version uncompressed, haven't you? If you followed my system, this is the file that you named without the underscore in the file name. The file named with the underscore, the extra underscore, is the compressed version, right? So why do you need the uncompressed file? Well, you're going to record the new section, which is obviously, to begin with, uncompressed. Once you've inserted the new audio and made it sound good and natural by using the techniques I'm going to show you, then you compress the whole lot. In other words, the old recording and the new bits you've stuck in, and this will make the whole lot sound even more blended. It'll all mesh in and natural. It'll sound great. Trust me. If you were adding in uncompressed material into compressed, it would sound terrible. Levels will be all over the place. You'll play around with trying to boost levels, and it will be awful. So don't do it, please. Work always with uncompressed files when you're doing this repair work. So let's start. Remember that the purpose of this exercise is to ensure that the listener who hears this new version has no idea as to what was the original recording and what is the new. All right, it's our little secret. Okay, here's the original script, and here's the new script with the changed words in bold. Most clients send the new script in this format with the changed words either in bold or a different color or new words highlighted. If they've sent to you a new script vaguely saying, "Hey Pete, got a new script, man, it's changed a bit, you know," and leaving it up to you to spot the differences, well, they really are a poor client, and that's the last thing you do for them. They won't. I'm sure they won't.
So here you see the script, the original script at the top, the new one at the bottom. One change, a sentence has gone, and there's a new, slightly shorter sentence in its place. It's got to match. So, let's play what I sent to them. It was in 1896 when Mr. and Mrs. Pembroke arrived on these lands and decided to build their hotel. The land was an old cemetery. Yes, spooky stuff. Well, you can obviously tell that they asked me to put some reverberation, some effects on it to make it sound spooky because they didn't have the facilities at their end to do that. Now, if I just had that version with all the spooky effects on and the reverse reverberation and everything, it would be very difficult to match with anything new. So, of course, I have got the original without any effects, the original without any compression on. And here we are in Explorer. You see the one with the longer tail here, that's the one with the effects. The one without the tail there, that's the one that's completely raw. Remember, the reason I said to do it sort of subtly like that is so it doesn't give them a heart attack at the other end by calling it compressed or plus effects, or it just confuses people. But you know yourself that the one with the shorter tail, the shorter underscore, is the one that is raw. So let's go to that now.
It was in 1896 when Mr. and Mrs. Pembroke arrived on these lands.
That's better, isn't it? Now we can work with that. So all we've got to do now is look back at the script and find out where it is up to. Let's sing everything went well until. So let's find that on the script. It'll be somewhere 3/4 through.
Until.
That's the one. So all I've got to do now is read along with the recording, really.
The Pembrokes built their hotel, and for many months everything went well until.
You see, you just have to get into the mood of the original. Just play it a few more times just to get it into the mood of the original.
And for many months everything went well
that sort of
until.
tone. I know the distance from the microphone I would have been at then. I'm in the same recording studio, so it should match. So now flip back to the script and start to record this. So, here's a new file, call it retake, and go OK, and into record again with Shift and Spacebar, back to the script. So I'm going to read the sentence before, even though I know I'm not actually going to use it, just to get me in the mood. Ignoring all warnings about an awful curse, the Pembrokes built their hotel, and for many months everything went well, until the night that changed everything. Okay, so it's only that bit I need. So let's edit it in. We stop it and grab that little bit. Until the night that changed everything. So we highlight that. Okay, so I could Control X to cut it out completely, but I'll just go Control C just to copy it. And then we go back into our uncompressed version again and play that. The night when all troubled souls leave their grave and roam the earth. That's the bit we don't want anymore, so we simply push Delete and then Control V. Oh, look, it's not very good level, is it? But we know that I would have normalized the other one to -3, so we push 1, my shortcut, normalize to -3, and then suddenly it's the same. We listen to it.
For many months everything went well, until the night that changed everything. October 31st, All Hallows Eve.
So that's fine. So now what I can do is save it as, just in case they want even more changes. So you save it as and you call it revision 1 in the middle of all that. So you know, not revision 1, so you know to save it like that. And then we can do what we like with it, basically. What I will do is push 2 and compress it. And I can even add reverse reverberation again. That'll closely match the original. I'm sure that the client would not notice the difference. What you do is basically to highlight the whole thing, Control A, effects, reverse, so the whole thing is backwards. Okay. At the end here, you just need a bit of space. So you just put the cursor at the end, and then you need a bit of space. So 5 will insert half a second. You actually need about 1 second, really. So 1 second adds a bit there. We close that, so that leaves a bit of gap at the end. All right. We highlight it again, and this time we're going to add some reverberation to it. Studio Reverb will do. Santa Reverb I've got here. Let's see what that was. So basically, let's just apply it, just for a laugh. You'll notice the level has gone down. Don't worry about that. Simply push 1 again and normalize. And you'll now notice it's still backward, but it's got some sort of reverb on it. Well, then we reverse it again. Effects, reverse, and now listen to it. You've got the backwards reverberation.
It was in 1896 when Mr. and Mrs. Pembroke arrived on these lands and decided to build their hotel. The land.
Good, isn't it? It's called reverse reverberation. Easy for me to say. And now all you need to do is also add some normal reverberation on the whole lot. So back to do another Santa one. Apply. And again, it's just got, I haven't bothered changing the levels from before. Don't worry about it. Just normalize. Just keep on normalizing. If you're doing multiple effects, it won't do any harm to it. And now we hear it.
It was in 1896 when Mr. and Mrs. Pembroke arrived on these lands and decided.
Just be very careful when you're using reverb. Don't go over the top, or else you'll lose the clarity. But you can, if you want, have a laugh. The client may like it, but as long as you've got the original without any effects at all, you'll be safe. Good luck.
So let me sum up. If you have an adapted script, you don't need to re-record the whole lot again, unless you have to record in a different studio, or with a different microphone, or your voice has changed for some reason. Or sometimes you do have to do the whole lot because the client says, "Can you do it in a different style? I know I told you that originally, but I've changed my mind." So seek out the uncompressed but edited original file, the one you named without the extra underscore, and work with that. Work out which sentences need to be re-recorded. It won't work recording just the changed words. Now play the original back, get into the mood of the voice style that you recorded weeks, months, years ago, whatever. Then record the revised sentences and edit using the techniques I've just shown you. Then, once you've sent the revised and updated files to the client, it's up to you if you also send a new or larger invoice.